Okay, welcome back. Next, we're going to have a short information piece from Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and so we'll turn it over to Bill Renaud to provide that. Bill, take it away.
Okay, just like we've done the previous few days after lunch, give an overview of some of the different centers. So I'll talk a little bit about the Oak Ridge Leadership Computing Facility. It is one of the Office of Science's computational user facilities. We've heard a little bit about this earlier in the week from NERSC and from Argonne. So a lot of what was said in those presentations is similar for allocations and projects that we have running on systems here as well. And you can see with the Office of Science's some of the initiatives in boosting computational tools for open science. As was mentioned with some of the other presentations, we are a user facility. When people apply for time and are granted usage of the systems, that is free for those that do publish. So that is a big thing that attracts some of the users to the facility. Again, and like I said, mentioned earlier in the week, we have several allocation programs, several avenues for access to the systems. The Insight and ALCC calls for proposals happen once a year. Insight is working between us and Argonne. ALCC is from the DOE Office of Science. Those account for a large fraction of the time that's allocated on our systems. Insight's about 60%, ALCC now is about 20%, and the Director's Discretion projects are about 20% now, and that includes a couple of other initiatives as well as we work to bring in newer systems. And those DD applications are accepted year-round. We typically have a meeting on Mondays when those get reviewed. We have some of our computational scientists on staff review those to make a recommendation on approval for those projects. Have a slide here just with some links to the different allocation programs to make it a little bit easier to find. The top one is on our website, which gives you an overview again of the different programs, the size of allocation that might be expected for some of these different programs. Obviously the ones for Insight and ALCC are larger allocation programs. Those are the ones where we're really targeting these jobs that need to use significant fractions of the computational resources, whereas discretionary projects might be a little smaller with projects learning how to use the resources, getting their feet wet, starting to get codes ported over to the systems. We've had a lot of changes this year. Obviously things change pretty regularly in computing and with computing centers, but we've had quite a number this year. We've brought new resources online. Summit became part of the user program on January 1st. Along with Summit, we brought in a new file system that's called Alpine. That is a GPFS file system. I guess it's now the proper term is a spectrum scale file system, but I've been at this long enough that it's GPFS to me. We've also decommissioned a few resources. One of our previous top-line systems, Titan, reached its end of life and was decommissioned just a month or so ago. A smaller Cray XC40 system, EOS, was decommissioned, as well as our large Atlas file system. I've joked with some people, if you want to hear what it sounds like to give about 6 megawatts back to the grid, look for the OLCF Facebook page. There's some video of shutting down Titan, and you can hear the sound of giving about 6 megawatts back to the grid. As far as Summit, that is an IBM system, 4,608 IBM AC922 nodes. Each of those has 2 IBM Power 9 processors and 6 NVIDIA Volta GPUs. You can see the total counts out by the side of those 2 bullet points. The node has about a 42 teraflop peak performance, leading to about 200 petaflop peak for the overall system. And then again, that file system that I mentioned, the Alpine file system, about 250 petabytes. That is serving not only Summit, but also some of the smaller analysis clusters that we have on site. So the benefit to the user there, if you're doing your post-processing on another machine, there's no data movement involved. It's everything is right there and available to you. Of course, we have to have the gratuitous picture of the system. So there is Summit in all its glory. And looking a little bit forward, we have already announced what ultimately essentially will be Summit's replacement. That'll be Frontier, coming a few years down the road, although there's already a considerable amount of work going on at the center here with construction, bringing in power and cooling to be able to support that system, since it is certainly not a trivial task to bring these machines in. If you want to see some more about the system and some of the specifics that we have available at this time, you can navigate over to that link. Of course, training is a big initiative. I'm a member of the user assistance group, so one of our big initiatives is training with events like this Petascale Institute. We have lots of other training material that you may find interesting if you go over to our website and to the Vimeo channel that we have with a lot of our archived presentations from different meetings that we've had in the past. So you're welcome to take a look at that. They're publicly available for a reason. We want people to be able to benefit from that. And if you have any questions, I'm in Slack. Ask me in there or send me an email. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.